you're kind of like, you know what, I got this. I'm almost dead. I'm halfway. So
You
if I got through the first half of my life, this is gonna be a breeze.
right, and like you couldn't pay me to go back to my 20s. Like, no, thank you. All set with that.
I don't know. I might go back to my 20s. I wake up in the morning, I'm pretty sore all the time. All the time. So confidence coach, tell me what that is.
Oh, what is it? I work, not just with women. I started working with men too. And really what we do is we like strip back all of the conditioning, like all of the things we think we're supposed to be, especially with the women mainly, like body image and that message of like, you need to look this way and strive to be younger, thinner, and prettier for like the rest of your life. We don't do that anymore.
Okay.
So really getting to who you are outside of all the bullshit and outside of your trauma, and it being a confident, not because of how you look. Again, I was in the beauty industry. It was very much like, oh, have a good hair day and then you'll be confident, when really it's do the scary things and then you will grow confident. So like, it doesn't matter if you're having a bad hair day. Like, that has nothing to do with it. And for women, it's a really hard thing to like get away from. But
yeah, we talk about a lot, kind of embracing yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know we've had the discussions, but making yourself the number one priority. Because I think once you build the confidence in yourself, then you can go be yourself, right? Like, and I've worked on that a lot of just embracing me. And I just had this conversation with a client today, is that it's easier just to be you than try to be someone that you think other people want to see. And the crazy part is that you don't even know if that person wants to see that person. Like, it's just your perception of what you think people want to see in you, right? But if you just accept yourself, with the caveats, like, don't be a douchebag, right? You don't want to be like, well, I'm just an asshole, so I'm always going to be an asshole. That's kind of a problem. But I think, following you on TikTok, I like the vibe of making yourself the number one priority, because if you're not good, the rest of your life is not good, because it all starts with you, right? Like, we all know, like, if Joe has a bad day, his kids are probably going to have a rougher time at night, but just because we're in that bad mood, and it kind of spills over. So if I know I'm good, then my office tends to be better. My house tends to be better. And I really tried to keep everything separate, but we are human beings, right? So if I'm not confident in what I'm doing, I can't bring that confidence to the rest of my life. So I'm definitely about that vibe. That's one of the things I definitely try to work on with my clients and myself. So that's why I thought you'd be a good guest. I know one person in this room who definitely doesn't need a confidence coach, and that's Joe.
Yeah, just naturally overconfident for no reason. You know what I mean? Not particularly that smart or skilled at anything, but my mom, when I was a kid, used to tell me like I was awesome, and I believed it, and I've just sort of ran with it. Yeah.
It's a good thing, though. Like,
Yeah, it works. It really does.
Sure.
It annoys Vinny to no end, but
it does. It doesn't annoy me. I accept you for who you are.
Oh, thank you.
But it is annoying.
And
sometimes.
I accept me for me.
That's good. I'm glad Joe is okay with Joe today. So we got that figured it out.
I mean, that's a good thing, though, because for so many people, they're not okay with themselves. Like, plain and simple. I wasn't. I was like really not okay with myself. And then I had kids. When I had my daughter, I was like, oh shit, I'm about to teach her how to hate herself if I don't figure this shit out.
Yeah.
And that was when I was like, all right, first thing I did, stop talking shit about myself. Now you'd think like, why are you talking shit about yourself? But we do. And I didn't want my kids to see that and for it to be like this normal thing. And then that led me to divorce because I started to actually love myself and realize like, oh, I'm gonna put myself first. Because like going back to the like choosing yourself.
Yeah.
Especially as a mom, like it's that picture of like martyrdom and you put yourself last and the kids first. And I was like,
it's got to be the opposite. That's what I tell my clients. Absolutely.
Like if mom is good, they're going to be good. If I'm not good, they're not going to be good. And I like had to show them that and learn it myself because I really hated myself, which is how I ended up marrying somebody that I did. I mean, because I hated myself.
Yeah, and I could vouch for that guy. No bueno. Not
No way.
not picking
He
up.
and I have also both divorced one and onto a second, and it's going much better. And again, I think it was about figuring out, I mean, we've never really talked about the exes, but I would assume there's probably a lot of similarities there. And again, just sort of in your own self-reflection of like, where were you at that you were with somebody like that who clearly, right at the end of the day, wasn't that into you?
Yeah, well, clearly because I got married again. I think for me, I think it was kind of weird. I think in my marriage, I think we were very much type A's at the time. Very focused on our professional stuff. But yes, and I'm not going to talk ill will of her, but I will tell you in my marriage now, I could just be me, like unequivocally could be me. And my wife doesn't like all the things about it, but she tolerates it. Right. And that's one of the things I try to tell people. If you're married or in a relationship, you don't have to say someone's right. You just have to understand their perspective. Right. And there's going to be things that are deal breakers. Right. I think like morally, if you guys are on different playing fields, and that's a deal breaker. Right. But I think personality wise, if you're adding what someone may lack and vice versa, I think that's a thing. But going back to talking shit about yourself, I always tell people, because I used to negative self-talk all the time. I know, because I'm so amazing. Now I sit here, it's like, no way. There's no way Vin could talk shit about himself because he's great. But I did. But what I always tell people, I was like, just take all this shit that you talk about yourself, then say if you could say it to your friend. Right? Because the shit we talk to ourselves, not Joe, but me and you. Yeah. Right? Because Joe is on another level right now. But I would never go say that to a friend. Never. Ever in a million years. But yet we say it to ourselves. And so, I try to keep that in mind. I mean, it's not perfect every day, but I think, talk to yourself like you would talk to your friend or your mom, or not my dad, because I don't like my dad. But
and that's okay.
And that's okay too, by the way. But I definitely think that perspective, especially going through a divorce like you did and being a parent and realizing that your kids are going to model your behavior. And that's what I try to tell parents all the time, is that the way you talk to your spouse, your kids are going to talk to their spouse that way. Right. And if you ask a parent just to sit back in a room and just watch your kids interact like with their spouse, like you're interacting with her, you would smack the shit out of your kid. You'd be like, why are you communicating that way? And then your kid looks at you like you're a moron, because that's what you grew up in. So I think as parents, it's our responsibility to set the stage and realize, hey, and acknowledge when you did something wrong and change it. Because if you want to change your life, but you're still doing the same shit, it's not the other person's fault, right? The other person is just being them. So you have a choice. It's either you stick it out because you're just more comfortable being in a uncomfortable situation than the unknown, or own your shit and realize stay in your lane, because you're never going to change the other person. We don't have that power as people to go change somebody else. They got to do it. So, and I will say, you have come a long way. Yes. Like from when you first came into my office to now, you're two different people. But I don't get that. I don't get to see my people afterwards. Right. And that's kind of why I started the life coaching thing, because I wanted an avenue for people. But to have you sit here and be such a strong person is amazing, because a lot of times that divorce will break you. Right.
Yeah. That was by far the hardest thing I've ever gone through, ever.
Yeah.
And he made it, extra. That's why, like I said, it feels like a lifetime since I saw you.
Yeah.
Because I was separated in the end of 2020. 2021 was hell on earth for me. And now I'm here. I'm like, is 2025 already? Like,
yeah.
How did this happen? I feel like I've lived a whole lifetime. I took the bullshit that I was going through and decided, like I often do, which is why I coach, like, how can I help somebody else that's going through it? That's what got me up off of the floor on the days when I was like, this is going to fucking break me. And I still deal with, like, I am not just healing from abuse. I'm still experiencing it.
Yeah.
And I shared that with a friend today. And she's like, I just want you to, like, give yourself some more credit, though, because, like, the way you handle it now, it's vastly different. It's a lot of the same bullshit, but it's my response to it.
Yeah.
I don't, like, freak out anymore. I'm like, all right, cool. Like,
Well, because you're in a position where you can control the pace of the conversation, whether it's with somebody else or whether it's in your head. So we had this discussion, I think maybe it was 2 weeks ago, about as you get older, your perspective of your history changes, right? And if you're growing as a person, what you thought about that history 3 years ago compared to now is going to be much different because you're in a different headspace. And that's, if you're growing as a person, you're going to look, and I don't even think a divorce breaks you as much as it strips you down and it gives you a rebuild. So you have a choice. It's either, my life is over, it's everyone else's fault, it's his fault, it's her fault, or you're like, I'm not broken, I just get to start fresh. But it does take time and it takes work. And there's no amount of podcasts or books you could read. It's really self-work and knowing your self-worth and being able to get to that point now where you never get over it, right? Like, like any trauma you have, it's always going to be with you because it's a piece of you. It's just how you're seeing it now. So you could welcome that piece. Like there's times where I look back on things that happened and before it would put me in a bad mood and I realized, hey, that thought is just a moment and let me control that moment by the perspective and realizing that even if you allow yourself that time to break, it's just a moment in time. So, but to see you sit here and grow and helping other people and essentially paying it forward is big. And it's not easy. I mean, Joe's on the radio every day. He does a million podcasts. He puts himself out there. You put yourself out there, but people need to hear it. And I think that's why the show is so good because we lay it out there because these are all the conversations people need to have and they don't have it. And I think it's really good that like men, you're starting to coach men on confidence because I think we have this, it's ingrained in us just from society and your parents and family that we just got to eat shit and we just hold on to it. Like we're built to carry it all. And the problem is you can't carry it all. And then it negatively affects everything.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to be able to have conversations. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like for me anyways, my wife laughs, my kid laughs because I talk to everybody. Because you never know when you strike up that conversation and it could just be 10 minutes that changes someone's day, but time is our biggest commodity. So might as well use our time wisely. So I'm glad you're on. This is good. What do you think, Joe?
Well, interesting because again, with the divorce thing, but like, I'll give you for instance, my daughter is running tech on this thing tonight. She's 25 years old. 24 years old, about to be 25 at the end of the year. Whatever. Oh, I turned 50 this year and she turns 25 because we're 25. Anyway, I have a very toxic family and I can say that because I know none of them are going to watch this or hear it because they don't support me. And that's fine, right? But I was 34 when I was like, I hate these people. I don't enjoy spending time with these people. Yeah. They're toxic. Why? I don't enjoy being with them. Why would I subject my kids to that? And so we just stopped doing shit with them.
Yeah, I think.
And it's very, I mean, it's so limited now that it's when we are with my family, it's generally okay. People have learned to tone it down for the sake of a few hours once or twice a year.
Yeah, and I think you protect your peace, right? I was reading, I'm a big audiobook guy, and I've read Think Like a Monk like a million times, but he had a chapter about that yes, they're your family, but you get to choose who's actually your family, right? So I don't think it's people are like, well, I don't have a choice, it's my family. No, you do have a choice. And I know me and my sister really had, especially over the past like 3 or 4 years, really had to make decisions. But it's about protecting my peace at the end of the day, because I have a family, I have a household, but more importantly, my time here is finite. So I'm not going to spend it with people who are just not, I don't even need the support. I just need peace.
That's it. I know. I work like with clients a lot on boundaries because when you are used to people pleasing or maybe not that confident, boundaries feel really scary. Because you're afraid, right? That person's going to perceive it as a punishment in that. And then it's going to be conflict and all of that. I'm like, no, boundaries are meant to protect your peace, plain and simple. And you get to put your peace like on the top of your list because
Yeah. Absolutely. I had a consultation with a guy today. I think he was 70, married 40 years, and he just wants to be happy. And he's like, I know it's going to hurt her. And I'm like, listen, your major decisions in life, 90% of those are going to hurt something or somebody. But at the end of the day, you got to protect your peace. And especially, I find it interesting because I'm getting more of that part of society where they're like been married 40, 50 years coming in for divorces because they're realizing that, I mean, when you're 70, it's a different ball game because you don't know, right? Like, I mean, your time is very finite. Not to be kind of negative about it, but like you don't got another 50 years at this. So, but that's the majority of my conversations with those consultations is it's okay to be happy. Like you got to be happy. And I think one of the things when I was going through my divorce that I couldn't be mad at my ex-wife about was, and we talked about this, if you just come out and say, hey, I'm just not happy anymore, forget all the other BS aside, I would have been upset, but I wouldn't have been mad because you know what, you're entitled to be happy. You know, so I think if people had that perspective more when they're coming into my office, that like, listen, it's not about the other person anymore, right? You know, you're never going to change that other person. And you already know what you're walking into when you're walking into the room, right? When people are like, I can't believe this person did it. Well, you can't. Like they're being them. So it's how you intake your information, like you said, and then I control how I react to it. I just did a post the other day that you don't have to accept the invitation to the argument party. Like, you know, you're going to get the invites all the time, but
I get them every day.
Every day.
On my phone.
Yeah. So like,
I'm arguing
yeah.
now. I'm just, why?
Right.
Like our energy or time, all of it is so limited, and we get to decide who gets it and how we use it and how much time we want to put into some bullshit.
Yeah. And the worst part is Joe likes to argue a little bit. Joe is a, he like, it's good. But he's just like, hey, you said something.
I like to argue with people in real life.
Yes. Like
I don't argue with people online.
You're not keyboard warrior.
No.
That's
it's funny. I'll scroll through Facebook and I'll see somebody say something dumb, and I might even start to type, and I'm like, you know what?
No.
Why? What?
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is gonna go on all day. I'm all set. There's idiots everywhere. I can't fix them all.
I find so much satisfaction when I start to write out a text, and then I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, and I delete it, and I just move on with my day. There were times where that's not the case, and you're over it, but no.
Well, I think silence is very underrated. It's so I've been reading this phenomenal book on communication, and I definitely been trying to practice it where you take it slow, you're controlling the pace of the conversation, but you say something and then the silence, that's the most powerful thing in the world. Because as a lawyer, you can tell when someone's lying when they keep talking. But like I end the conversations, it's just I said it, and then you just let it be silent because either they're going to understand your perspective, change their perspective, or they're going to move on. But I'm not going to spend the rest of my day trying to prove my point. No. I think a certain way. We don't have to agree upon it, but I'm not going to fight with you over it because at the end of the day, I have a lot of other things to do in my life. And even if that person eventually says you're right, inevitably they're just going to be an asshole to you anyways. So your point never gets across. So I think it goes back to just being confident in yourself and in your position. Don't be ignorant. Be open to discussions. And maybe change your perspective after you listen about things. So I don't think the confidence is like, well, here's me, fuck yourself and have a better day.
Yeah, no, it's not arrogance.
No.
Like there's a difference between confidence and arrogance. I take myself out to dinner a lot, and especially like right after, I was settled after the divorce. I'm like, I had my regular spots, and there was this bartender who was asking these women next to him who he knew them, but he's like, who's the most fun person you've ever been in love with? And they were sitting there thinking, and I was like, ooh, can I answer? And he's like, yeah, what do you got? I'm like, myself.
Me. Yeah.
These women looked at me. The one who was sitting next to me, she looked at me, she goes, I don't think you can say that. And I'm like, I can. And I want it for you too. It's not me being arrogant, right? Like it's confronting to you because you might feel some type of way like, well, shit, I would never say that about myself, right? And then get her thinking. But I'm like, it's not me being this asshole, like, oh, I'm so much better than you. I want this for you too. But the look on her face was like, I don't think you can say that. I'm like, I can. And the bartender was like, I knew I liked you. Because like, why wouldn't we want to love ourselves? Like,
and we spend the most time with ourselves. Like, that's the thing. Like, yes, we interact with a lot of people in our jobs and just our everyday, but 90%
relationship with yourself is the only constant in your entire life.
Yeah, and it's there 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day.
So, I think that's a great answer. I would have said Joe then myself, but you know, Joe.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That. I got you. So, how was your week, Joe? You always have good stories for us.
So, this is great. I had a meeting with my bosses
another
today.
One. Like, how many meetings?
I do.
This guy has more meetings than I've ever, like, with his boss too. Like every week he marches in and he's like fact checking his boss.
No, this one was one where like this is like every 5 weeks they make us go in there and we have a meeting. They bring a consultant in from Chicago and it's a fucking huge waste of time. And it's funny because one of the things they're like, do more phone calls and like do topics on it. And I hate that shit. I think that's like lowbrow radio. Mm-hmm. You know, I write bits, I write jokes. I'm that's what I'm all about. Mm-hmm. I'm putting on a show. And I don't know. So we went in, we had the meeting, and my boss doesn't like to be wrong about shit.
Yep.
And you know me.
Dude. Worst.
I'll tell you this, right? And so he suggested I didn't play something the other day, which was horseshit, right? I played it. And he's said shit like this to me before, and every time he does it, I always go, dude, when if you call me on something and I fucked up, I will own it. Have I ever not owned it? Have I ever not been like, dude, you know what? My bad. Yeah, all right, got it. But when you accuse me and you're wrong, we got to clear the air, brother. Like, there's no way. I'm not walking out of here like you're going to think you're right. And then he tried to act like he was going to pull the skimmer. We always have, everything's always like on a backup recording. Ours has been down for a fucking month at least. And he started to give me the bullshit like, well, I listened to, I go, you didn't listen to it. The thing's been down for a month. And he went, well, you're going to get out of jail free card. And he tossed his pen and we moved on with the meeting. And it's like, dude, one of the reasons I talk about these meetings that I have with my bosses is because I'll tell you right now, I think one of the biggest things that people deal with in their life is having an asshole of a boss.
Oh, man. I hope my staff's not on here.
Guys, speak up.
Oh, if you, my mom.
Speak up if you've got some, and we can help Vinny's staff out. I work with a lot of people who are terrified of our boss, terrified of the guy. And they're like, you know, if he wants something, you just drop what you're doing. My ass, I'll drop what I'm doing. I'll get to that shit when I get to it. Right?
No.
I know he owns the goddamn radio station. I'm not his fucking slave. Snap your face. Oh, yes, sir. No, it doesn't work that way. And so I've decided, I've let this guy know you'll get your shit when you get it. Like, that's how this works.
No, that's not. I mean, that's a great attitude to have, and I'm glad you get away with it. But
now he's hoping his staff isn't listening.
No, they know better.
Guys, it's time to revolt.
I think it's how. Yeah, no, I have a little bit of a different take, so no, I don't snap my fingers.
Look at Natasha. Natasha heard you calling for help.
Yes.
She Natasha got the snap, and she was like, my boss is the best.
Well, that's because she got a raise today.
Girl, come on.
That's because she got a raise.
Yeah,
today.
A raise. That makes up for a lot of things.
That was weird how that happened.
Natasha tells us some stories about Vin.
No, mind your business.
Interesting.
Mind your business, Kelly.
Natasha then says, I have many stories.
I do. We have this notebook at my office of all the inappropriate things that I've said, and it's probably about 1,000 pages. I told my client today, it's either gonna be the greatest memoir ever written,
or it's gonna be an exhibit at your trial. What? You're documenting it? What are you, insane?
But I will say, Natasha's been with me. We had her 12-year anniversary last week, so she's been with me for a while. She's ride or die. So I hired her. We met at our Starbucks for an interview, and I remember it was actually probably one of the best things my partner did. He made me hire her because I had $0, and I don't think I talked to her for 6 months because I was so infuriated every time she showed up to work because that's where all my money was going. But she stuck it out. She did. But I think as a boss, I tried to be. Well, my office, as you know, is like the actual show, The Office. So, and I'm Michael J. Scott. So we're all like family members. So they get away with a lot of stuff, like laying in dog beds and hiding under their desk or going to Nashville to pick up puppies. What's my sister saying?
Your sister said a terrible boss can impact someone's life for years. I have zero tolerance for crap management.
Yes.
The people feel me on that. Again, I'm just saying, I think if you're working for another person, you have to learn to stand your ground. Because if you're just going to get rolled over, you're going to grow to hate your boss. You're going to grow to hate your job, to hate your life. And then the hate just continues to like roll downhill.
But I think that says everything about all relationships, right? Like, I mean, I think as a boss, because not to be like I'm a boss, but like I have to do certain things a certain way because I'm running the show. But you also have to treat people like they're people,
So you
right?
treat them like humans.
Yeah, but it goes back to like how would you talk to your friends to a point, but it's just you have to have the respect for the person as an individual, right? I think because you never know what that person is going through that day, right? So if someone like for today, I had a phone call with a couple parents, and it started off kind of hot, and then I had to take a step back and be like, well, this parent's saying this because her kid went through this, so it's not really her, it's the experience they're going through, right? So if you could get through what they're going through and see beyond the experience, and I think you get to the person. But I think we have such superficial conversations as people that we never get to the person. We just take the face value of what's coming out of their mouth without taking a step back, taking it slow, trying to control the pace of the conversation, and then get to the person, right? But we are a society that's on the go all the time, and therefore we don't get to the person. We just see the conversation without knowing why they're actually having the conversation, and they're not mad at you, they're just having a day. And it's okay to have a day too, right? Like it's okay if your friend or your employee or your spouse is having a day. You don't bag on them for it. Just like, all right, they're having a day. We'll get through it. It's a moment, and then move on, and don't harbor that ill will.
Don't take it personal.
Well, that's yes. That's
unless that person does let you know that like you did something and that's why. But like we take it so personally. And even like so when I work with clients, I do a lot of just like text and voice notes. If I wasn't secure in myself and I hadn't done all of this work on just like my worthiness and trauma and all of that, if I leave a message and then they listen to it and don't answer, I could be like, oh no, they hate me. They're mad at me. Or like I had a client send me a picture and she was like flipping me off. I don't take it personally. It was just like a day she was having. But I also know like there was a time I'd be like, oh my God, they hate me. Or like I must have done something, and then you hyperfixate it, and then you like just.
What if she sends you the second picture flipping you off? Will you get mad then? Because then I think,
well, sometimes my clients, I say shit that they don't like, but they also know that they need to hear it.
Yes.
You know, and I'm like that too. When I'm being coached, I'll be like, oh, fuck off. Why did you say that to me? And also, thank you.
But I think that's also like it's important to have those people outside your sphere. Right? Like you have your therapist, you have your coaches, because oftentimes people will be like, well, I talk to my friends and they agree with me. Well, of course they do. They are your friends, right? So I think it's important to have resources outside of your friend circle, your family circle, to kind of get an honest look at yourself. And it's a hard thing to do, to say, you know what, I didn't approach it that way, or I shouldn't have approached it that way. But if you're not growing, you're not changing, and then your life is going to be the same thing the whole time. So I know as attorneys, when you're dealing with lawyers, they're always think they're the smartest person in the room, like the large majority of them. And usually, if you're that person, you're the dumbest person in the room. I mean, I had a judge call me today at my office, and he's like yelling at me. I didn't even do anything wrong, and then he's like, "Well, I've been a judge for 2 years." Like, congrats, bro. Like, you, like, what am I supposed to even say to that? Like, shrug my shoulders, but like, okay, I guess I'll just be quiet and kiss the pinky ring. Like, but that's what I have to deal with on a daily basis is everyone's the smartest person in a room, and you're just not, because you learn things. Like I like to think I'm able to learn things from my clients, right, to hopefully make me a better lawyer, just a better person. I could tell you, and we've had this conversation, if you came to me 7, 8 years ago, I'm probably having a different consultation or a different conversation with you, right? Because you're just another file. Like when people went through divorces, I'm like, why are you upset? This person doesn't want to be with you. Just get up and leave. Like, keep it moving. I was like, man, if I ever got a divorce, I just walk out and thumbs up and Merry Christmas. I got a divorce, crashed a car, lived in an apartment, tanked my life. And
Wild.
It was a bit hairy, but I'm glad I experienced that, because then we could have these conversations. But yeah, it's hard to hear the truth about yourself sometimes, because we all talk from our own perspective, right? Like when you're dealing with a lawyer and they're like, well, my client's telling the truth. Like, they're telling their truth.
Your truth.
Like,
Yeah, yes.
Stop drinking the Kool-Aid all the time, because somewhere in the minutia shit they're telling you lies the truth. But our jobs as attorneys or coaches or whatever we're doing is take a step out of that emotion and see it for what it is. And some of my clients don't like that, because I'm not trying to make you warm and fuzzy. I'm just gonna be like, here's the honest truth. And the reality is you only can control what you can control. So make the decision. And if you have kids, like, there's nothing more infuriating than parents who just can't get out of their way. Right. And it's not about who's doing what, because you control what you do on your time, and you have such a limited amount of time. Like I had posted something. What infuriates me about parents is, whether you have an every other weekend or you see the kids every day, it's the quality of time. It's not the quantity with your kids.
I think I saw it on TikTok.
Yeah, like, but it's the truth, because I know I had parents. Both my parents worked multiple jobs. They were working all the time, but I could tell you, as much as they weren't great, husband and wife, I had really good parents, because it's the little things you remember as a kid.
The birds.
It's the birds, Joe. Joe's fixated on
a lot
my
of
pet
birds growing up.
They have a lot of
He's a
birds.
bird guy.
Really?
I know, you wouldn't guess that. He's a bird guy.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
You're obsessed with the birds. So I had told Joe I had a neurological disease last show, and then he blamed it on bird flu. You and
just seemed like
yeah,
the obvious connection.
Yeah, and he just laughed at me. I have a crippling disease, and he laughed at me.
Oh, you guys must really love each other.
I want to start a walk for whatever it is. What color do you think that is?
It's yellow, and I can't walk that well, Joe. So, Joe, I got to ask your opinion about something, Erica.
You know what we'll do?
No, I got to ask her this first. We're not changing topics.
A skateboard-a-thon. Can you ride a skateboard?
No, I can sit down when I go downhill, though.
Okay.
Nasty. So, Joe's company is throwing this golf outing for these kids who are neglected.
The Cove Center for Grieving Children in Cheshire. They provide free grief counseling for children all across Connecticut.
It's a great story, right?
Beautiful
awesome
organization. Great.
So
people.
They have this big golf tournament. Everyone goes out, eats food, has fun.
The fourth annual Cove Kids Golf Classic.
Stop trying to soften her up jokes. I'm going to ask her.
Good.
So while we're all having fun, guess where the kids are? They're at home being sad because everyone's having fun golfing. They don't invite the kids to the golf course.
Why?
Because it's a golf tournament to raise money.
I'm sure they don't want to be outside golfing, having fun, and just enjoying the free food and booze. I mean, not the booze.
Not the booze, but
I mean, depending on how old the kid is. But
look, I hate to say it, but they're kind of downers. I'm just kidding. No, it's
wow.
So maybe next time, instead of having a golf tournament, do something that the kids would like.
Because it's about the kids, Joe.
What could you do with kids to make $70,000 in a day?
A lot of things. Take them to a circus, have a little fundraiser, a petting zoo. Take them
You
to the
think you're gonna make $70,000 in a petting zoo?
take them to the
It's
golf
a lot
course.
of petting.
Pick out 3 kids. I'll have a foursome. I'll play with the kids. Not like that. No R. Kelly, no P. Diddy cap. Pause. You got to say that these days. You got to say P. Diddy, no Diddy. It's a thing now.
Yes, absolutely.
You can't be out here just saying I'm going to play with kids and people don't react.
Yeah.
They're immature.
I think that's part of the reason why they don't bring the kids out. It'd be, it'd be weird.
What do you got? Like Diddy, Jay-Z showing up? Like everyone's dressed in white and baby oil? Like what kind of golf tournament is this, Joe?
There's cigars. It's not for kids.
We can't get a bounce house?
I mean, we could.
Probably couldn't fit it in the fancy parking lot that they have at the country club, though.
That is true.
Yeah. See,
There's regulations. It's Farmington, after all.
I'm glad you're fist pound right here. Erica's on my side. I've been harping on this because it really does bother me. And then the staff goes back.
Free grief counseling. That's what
And the
they
staff goes
get.
back and they're like, oh my God, that was the greatest time of my life. And there's Billy crying in the corner with his pet bird.
Well, maybe you need to take some of the money. Yes, the grief counseling, all of that too. But please throw them a party after the golf tournament.
You know what? I like that. I do like that. A little pizza party for the kids.
Real nice. Here's some Domino's, kids. We just had a blast.
No, Domino's.
Some music, like
Get the good stuff in the bounce house. I like the bounce house.
right?
Kids love bounce
People
houses.
love it.
Nothing makes kids happier than a bounce house.
Yeah, I don't know.
You almost don't even need the grief counseling if you just get the
I
bounce
hated
house.
bounce houses as a kid. Well, because I couldn't balance because I have a disease. So I used to
No.
just fall over everywhere.
There's no cure for this thing.
No, because we don't have enough fundraising.
You need to have a golf tournament.
Yeah, that's a good point. Why don't you throw a golf?
Because you
tournament
can't
for me?
play.
I play golf all the time.
You shouldn't.
I shouldn't. I hit golf balls last week and I felt like I was in a Tough Mudder the next day. Like I woke up, I thought Tanya Harding was in my room just wailing on me.
I did a Tough Mudder.
That's insane.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that?
The second hardest thing I've ever done after my divorce. I don't know, it was probably almost 15 years ago, but I did the one in Vermont on a mountain. So it's like the hardest one.
Yeah.
We went up a mountain and then down, but like going up the mountain, there was, a dumpster full of ice water with a board in it. So you had to swim all the way underneath it. There was electrical like shock things and carrying log. I don't know how I did it, to be quite honest.
But what?
A mind over matter thing.
Like,
Yeah.
why did you do it? I never understood why.
I don't know, other than I like a challenge, and I was working at the salon at the time, and like one of the girls was doing it, and she's like, "You should do it," and I was still drinking at the time, so I'm sure alcohol was involved when I said yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Sounds awesome.
And I like a challenge, and then once I like decide to do something, I have to do it, and I like trained for it a little bit, but it was mostly mind over matter, and I then signed up for another one. But my dog got really sick the night before, like emergency vet the whole night. So I was distracted. And that dumpster full of ice water, when I jumped in to swim, I nailed my head on the board. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to sit this one out.
Yeah, no. I could. No, I would never. I don't even think I've ever ran a mile.
I was just going to ask you, what's the hardest thing you've ever done? I did a polar plunge like a decade ago, and that sucked.
Yeah.
But that was one of those things where like Special Olympics was like, hey, would you do this? And I'm like, you know what? I will. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, that's a terrible idea. And then I did it, and I'm like, I'll host this from now on, but I'm not. It's the last time I go in the water. Terrible.
Yeah, I never did anything like that.
What is the hardest thing you've ever done? I mean, you got Tough Mudder, a penguin plunge, and you've golfed a couple rounds. You ever golf like more than 18 in a day?
Yeah.
Wild, man.
Yeah, I'm not like physical challenges. I'll go to the gym and stuff, but no, I'm not about that.
How much you lift, bro?
I got 225 up for 8 this week.
Squatting?
It's real nice. It's real nice.
Kidding.
That's real nice, dude. Mock me, you mockingbird.
That's your bench. You ate two. That's impressive.
I'm getting there.
That's
I'm getting there. I'm 2025. I a healthier lifestyle. So I told you I'm doing the intermittent fasting, do fasting Fridays. So that's kind of like my mental challenges is just I try to build. I'm a habit stacker, so I try to do new habits every week. And then I just stack them. So that's been my thing is more of a healthy lifestyle. So, it's good though. I like it. I feel better.
You look great.
Trying, man. I'm trying. I got an 18-year-old with like 2% body fat at the house who just eats chicken nuggets with no shirt on. So I'm not gonna get ever to that level, but I feel good. So I think too, like for me, when I feel good, like the rest of my life kind of goes a little bit smoother. I tend to be that guy who thinks he's 800 pounds all the time, the big body dysmorphia guy. Yeah. I huge. Like I don't.
I
go to
think
the
this is
beach.
part of why you're in such good shape. Your mom used to take you to lake compounds as a kid. You remember that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I remember that time my mom took me to Rockwell Park and a kid had tried to drown me in the lagoon. Yeah, but I was never like I never like taking my shirt off and all that stuff. So like in my head, I'm like the nutty professor. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
So like you might have to hire me.
Yeah, I just don't take my shirt off and I'm fine.
I forgot you played tennis in high school.
I did. I was pretty good. Not gonna lie, I don't want to toot my own horn. That's a real man sport right there. Go ahead, say so. Anna was an avid bowler. Yeah.
Oh, bowling.
I couldn't run much. I fell down a lot when I was a kid, so I used to have to wear knee pads when I was in grammar school because I used to fall down all the time.
That's from the fibromyalgia.
Sky, dude. See?
What is it?
I can't wait till I have to roll into this podcast. And then you're going to feel real bad. Yeah, what are you going to do then, huh?
Well, to be honest, this place is not handicap accessible. So
I know. That's why we're moving, Joe. But yeah, so I always find it interesting. Like why do people do like run marathons? Like I just, unless a shark is chasing me through the woods, I'm not running anywhere.
I have a buddy who is about 35 pounds overweight all year round, and he runs marathons like 6 a year. And I always say to him, like, do you train? And he goes, yeah, like I run every day. And I'm like, none of it burns off. That's amazing. But this guy goes, he's also a what do you call those? A furry?
Why would I know that?
You know, he dresses up as a, is that what it's called? A furry?
Probably.
Yes. Yes.
And he's also,
yeah.
He's got a My Little Pony tattoo on his calf.
Yeah, I never got.
Cool dude.
To each his own, but I never got the furry thing. I can understand a lot of things in life. So
I don't think he's like weird into that. But
no. Like if you're in, like,
I think he just likes the dressing up part. It's fun.
So Cromwell, they used to have that like sketchy like Lions Hotel, like right near Lowe's, and they would throw these like furry conventions. And so, yeah, it was. I just don't know. Like, I mean, I guess if like you want to walk around town looking like a squirrel, to each his own. But like the weird, like you go to like the convention and people are just hooking up as animals is just wild to me. I honestly, like I don't know. Like I have a stepson, but like I don't know what almost fell. I don't know what I would. I don't know if I have the maturity level to like if my kid came home one day was like I want to be a raccoon.
You know, like, you wouldn't be able to just go with that.
No, because there's a lot of things in life I want to be that's just, it's not going to happen.
Last June, I was in the Middletown Pride Parade. And we were like waiting. And so a bunch of groups went ahead of us. And I saw all these people, right? Gays and lesbians, and they were a big group. They were in pink shirts. I forget what it said, but right. And I watch all these people walk down the street, and like the look on their face, and literally you understand why it's called Pride, right?
Yeah.
The day to go out there and to just be yourself. And I just watch one group after another, and at one point, like I'm watching these people in the side view mirror, and I had like a tear in my eye. Right?
Yeah.
Just again, the idea of what does pride mean?
Yeah.
Right. And you could see it exhibited on these people's faces. And I get tear in my eye. I was very overcome. And then the next wave of people that came through were the furries. And I was like, these fucking weirdos. I mean, God almighty, what is...
I mean, like,
oh, just like that, the tolerance was right out the window. I was having a moment and everything.
I mean, it's a different level.
Too
like,
far.
I feel like there's got to be some inner child healing happening, maybe.
Right?
Yeah,
Something's
like,
going on there.
It's just, hey, if you're not harming me, I'm good with it. I don't think I could ever just be like, yes, I want to be a flying squirrel, and that's just what I'm doing today. Like, and God bless you if you guys are down and you're having fun and you're loving your life and dressing up like a rhino or whatever your preference is. Just like if you do like a bald eagle or something, don't try to fly because you are not.
I think y'all should do an episode where you're each.
Oh, great question, Joe. What would you be if you're a furry?
Hold on 1 second, because your sister also helped me out here one thing. The My Little Pony, yes, you're right. He is a brony. He is a brony. That's a rabbit hole, no puns, and that's very good. Yeah.
What would you be as a furry? I love this question. This is great.
Oh, probably a penguin.
Ooh, that was gonna be. I was thinking about that. Me and my wife
Kind
are
of dressed
penguins.
up, right? You know, like the tuxedo,
Oh,
like.
fancy. All right.
That's me and my wife. We're penguins because we mate forever. Joe hates when I make wife references because I love my wife so much, and he just gets so infuriated.
A few weeks back, we played the, if you could go back in time and living or dead, have a conversation with somebody, who would it be? Right? Maybe you pick Jesus or Gandhi or fucking anything.
No, so you wake up and there's a room full of people.
And
who are you looking for?
I picked
first?
my grandfather, who passed away from terrible bout of cancer when I was 5. This guy's like, my wife. Like, you fucking wake up next to her every day. We need a dream scenario where you pick her again.
Well, I tried to explain
fucking
it,
lame.
Joe. It does sound lame, but I will say, like, once again, my favorite thing in life is my wife's smile.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's like it is. I remember the first time we went on a double date with mutual friends. Kelly's on here. We went with us, and then we went to the speakeasy in Middletown, whatever it was called. And I literally remember I was walking in the bathroom, I turned around and she was just smiling at me. And I, like, till this day, it is my probably like top 3 moments of my life. So let's ask her the question. All right, you wake up. You
I miss my pop.
No one cares about your pop.
I'll just let you know
it's
that.
about my wife's smile. So you wake up where you got a room full of people, like all the people you've ever wanted to talk to again or meet. Who's the number one person?
Kind of like tied.
No, you got to pick one.
My Nana.
I get you.
Tied with Betty White. I want to chat with Betty White.
Oh my God, I like that too.
Right?
Betty White, yes.
Kind of reminded me of Betty White. Nana was like, I'll never forget my high school graduation party. She had this little fanny pack on, and she's telling all my friends, she's just pulling random shit out of it. Like, you never know what Nana's gonna have.
Yeah.
In that little, we were like, I'm like kind of the black sheep of the family. I'm a little more unconventional than the rest, but not Nana. And Nana at my wedding. So my marriage sucked like royally. My wedding was like top tier. People are still talking about it. Like, we did a barn wedding before it was a thing, and like we did it all ourselves. My Nana danced all night long. We didn't know that less than a week prior she fell down her basement stairs, but never told any of us. But she danced. And I remember my aunt saying, like, well, if Papa was still alive, because he had passed away, I don't know, 6 months before, that wouldn't have been the case. She would have been, but she was free. And that woman tore up the dance floor with her little pink shawl all night long.
I love it. I know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, furry. What are you going to be? I love furry things. Not like, well, that sounded weird.
I mean, the first thing that came to my mind when you were talking about before, it was a koala.
Oh, those are adorable.
I do.
Hugs, like, they hug, like,
That's my dad's favorite animal, so I can't pick it. We could talk about that in a private coaching session. I would probably be a sloth. Because they're so slow moving. They got no care in the world. They're friendly. I mean, I'm not going to eat my own poop like they do.
Yeah.
But
I thought that's why you were saying
it's so, it's wild. They just,
You know, they move so slow that most of them are like covered in algae.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's
It's wild.
That's my pace of life I want to be at.
I kind of dig that.
I just hang out. But yeah, so that's but look at you getting a tear in your eye. I'm impressed. You're not a very emotional person.
I don't, you know why? I was talking to my therapist the other day. I'd be curious your thoughts on this. Mm-hmm. Things don't bother me. Mm-hmm. I've dealt with my trauma in life and it sucks. And I got divorced, fucking whatever, right? I roll with shit like really easily. And my wife is like, you really like talk to and tell your therapist, get into the nitty gritty of stuff. And I did. And you know, like Hottie, I'm like, I'm over it. You know, that doesn't, I lived it. I experienced it. I got the life lesson out of all of these shitty things. I don't think much about it. You know, I don't dwell on it. If I didn't have my children, I would never think about my ex-wife. I completely wiped that from the whatever, you know. I don't even know where I'm going with this. What got me even on this?
You wanted my opinion on something, but you never got there.
What was I just about to ask her about? Oh my God.
I don't know. I said you were emotional.
Yeah.
Impressed.
Yeah, I don't. So things don't really bother me. I don't dwell on
So
things.
why do you go to therapy?
Well, my therapist was like, I don't think we really need to keep doing that. Like my therapist was like,
you graduated.
We're good. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the other thing. This part of the reason I don't like therapy is it seems like it's an ongoing process. I thought you're teaching me to cope and deal with shit.
No, they don't. So I think the difference between a therapist and what we do is therapists will help you point out your problems, but there's not like this roadmap or this plan of action.
Right.
So when people ask me like what coaching is and what works for me is not going to work for somebody else, but through the coaching process, you figure out your action steps and your plan to deal with it. So I think therapy and coaching can work in tandem.
Yeah, I have a lot of clients that they go to therapy and hire me. Like it's two totally different things, but they want the not accountability, that's not my favorite word, but like, yeah, I'm the facilitator of the action. And because I've been very open, I'm super open about like my life and my experiences when I was going through the divorce. I've had women just like, well, I obviously like know everything you went through, so you can probably help me. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm there to like, I'm going to hold that space and listen so you can verbally process and get shit out. And I'm going to point out shit that you might not be seeing and help you with the action steps. Because otherwise you're going to therapy, like you said, for what? Right.
It's like you're just going and I'm going to dump more problems. You're going to have new problems next week. And it's like, this could be an ongoing thing forever. If you don't have an action plan and you don't like at some point kind of motivate yourself to like, I got to live and I got to like focus on me. Yeah. Those are the things that you just have to do. And that's why I don't enjoy therapy. But then again, I also don't sit around like, I don't have time for that shit. And I really don't. I'll reflect on some shit, but I don't like.
Well, I think coaching is more collaborative too, right? So to Erica's point, it's a different conversation we're having. And through our conversation, it's not me saying, hey, you need to do these next steps. But the people realize it if you're having the proper conversation, be like, oh, that's what I need to do. That may work. Yes, we're going to say, hey, I went through some similar stuff. This is what I did. Does that fit for you? Or what are your ideas on what you think is going to help you? And I think that's the cool part about coaching is I'm not here to point out your problems. I think therapy helps you be aware, because if you're not aware of what's going on and what's causing it, then you go nowhere, right? But that is just one of the things, right? You have to be aware, you have to take action, then you have to have accountability. And I think the coaching side helps you with the action and the accountability, right? So I think
the big thing though with coaching is to, you don't want your clients to be codependent on you. And I know like the coaching industry, like anything, like full of toxic bullshit too.
Yeah.
But this like want for them to like keep paying you, right? So then you create this really toxic codependency.
Yeah.
I love when I'm done with a client, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, and they're like, no, I don't want to resign. I'm like, good.
Yeah,
That,
it's
like,
not.
You're
It's not
cured.
I did my job.
Yeah,
Right.
you're not supposed to, like, we're not here for a lifetime appointment.
I
Because
want to empower you. Like,
well, that's
for
the whole
life.
point of coaching, right? Like I need you to grow as a person to the point where you're able to pivot in life without my opinion.
Mhm.
Because like I said, what I did doesn't necessarily work for you, but we're gonna figure it out. Like I use the wheel of life a lot, right? So you're chopping up your life into, you know, physical health, business, family. You have all these sectors and we go one by one, depending on what you want to work on. And you're never going to be a 10 in everything in life. Like you can't. It's impossible to have these expectations of 10, but you get to a point where I have a client now, you know, he's 4 in a bunch of areas. Well, where do you want to get to? And don't put a 10 because not everyone's going to be a 10. And then when it's good, because then you could gauge where you're at through the coaching, be like, okay, I conquered this part of the wheel. If you want to work on the next one, and sometimes you look, you're like, I don't need to work on this because I'm good here. Because you get the bird's eye view. But I think it's you get that bird.
Yep.
Yeah.
This guy. Yeah, I love it.
So I think but I think you're spot on with, you know, what the difference with the coaching and the therapy is, because we always get that question. Like if there's issues that you're talking about in coaching, that's a therapy session.
Yeah.
I'm not, there's certain things like mental health wise, diagnosis and all that. None of us coaches are qualified for it. And to your point, you're going to get a lot of coaches online on TikTok, Instagram. And it's from me and similar to you. I'm not focused on your finances and how you're going to make money, because that's not going to make you a better person. I think if you're happy with yourself, things will fall in line. So I'm really trying to help people find their peace. But if you get these coaches, like why I have the secret, I'm the gatekeeper. It's just insane. Like you didn't. And the worst part is, I think you get all these people who are successful, but you don't see the falls, right? Like you just see the end product, and it's not we don't start with a finished product. No. And so I think that's one thing, like with our posting and things like that, that you post your pitfalls or what your shortcomings are, because then people are like, okay, I have those too.
Yeah, and like you're a real human, not even just making relatable, but it's like, oh, you're like a real human. You're not, there's no putting people on a pedestal. Like, don't put me on a pedestal. I'm no guru.
No.
I may have been through some things, and like maybe you're going through something similar, and I'm like, oh, I walked through the fire, and now I'm like got my buckets of water and sand to like help other people put it out. But like, don't put me on a pedestal. And the goal with like a lot of my coaching, like at the heart of it is self-trust.
Yeah.
And it's not this, I think I'm great at everything and I can handle it, or what. It's, can I trust myself to handle whatever the outcome is? Like whether it's the worst case scenario, best case scenario,
Yeah.
Can I handle myself or trust myself to handle that outcome? And it's like, oh, I'm just going to like lean into that. Like whatever happens, I can trust future me to handle it, because I've survived 100% of my hardest days.
And I think when people hear other people talk about that, it improves their life, right? Like when you talk about like the shortcomings you had in life, people are like, oh, they went through that too. So I'm okay because other people are going through it. When you just hear people, I mean, because we all know those people that you talk to them and it's just bragging. Everything's great. And it's not, because I think I just heard something today to the fact that like everyone thinks they're behind everybody else. Yes. But you're looking at one aspect of life, right? This person could be uber rich, but they're failing at their marriage or they're failing at their health. But you don't see their failures. You're just seeing the uber rich, where you could look at your life, but like I have all this stuff this person doesn't have. But and I didn't do the post yet, but I heard that Helen Keller quote today is, I cry when I didn't have any shoes, but then I saw someone with no feet. Right. So like it's just like, and I thought it was like the coolest, like, I mean, I know what you're gonna say, you know, it's a weird quote from Helen Keller, but but it's an actual quote. I didn't get it. Maybe she was lying, she could really see, and it's just we all got suckered into it. But
how does she know what feet are? Come on.
But
bullshit.
I think we're always looking at everybody else instead of trying to be grateful for what we have, because you can spend your whole life always wanting more. And I did that paper chase. I tell people all the time, like, listen, I like nice shit, I work hard, but I was just on the chase all the time to get stuff. And now my whys are different because I have a kid in my life and my life is different. But it's when you're thinking about a community as a whole and not your own life, life is much better. And I think if you act in a grateful, kind manner, it's all going to come back. If you don't do it to get that come back, but inevitably you as a person is just a better person and life just tends to fall in a little bit. Oh, Joe's grabbing a card. He's already bored of my conversation. No, pick that one. Which one did you just pick and put back?
We lost it now.
Oh, it fell. It just fell. It wasn't like
he peaked.
No,
you cheated. You just did it again.
Do this one.
All right.
This is a great card for what we were just talking about. Tell a story of a time you felt betrayed.
You start, Erica. Guess. You start.
I felt betrayed.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 years of my life when I was married. No.
Yeah. All right. Perfect.
When I felt betrayed.
Yeah.
Like a specific. Didn't I say right before we started this? Don't like start asking me questions.
Yeah, but these are random, just questions. So you got to answer.
I'll go first.
Please.
You always do.
Yeah. I felt betrayed at the beginning of last episode when Vin was upset with me because I was sleeping. A human thing. My body was tired and I fell asleep and he had to wait a few minutes and he was angry at me. And I felt.
Welcome to the Joe answer, by the way. This is how he answers the question.
No.
It's avoidance. That's what I call it.
A real serious one come up.
Oh,
but
good.
Now I'm like, I don't.
You go.
It's kind of like.
This is why Joe goes to therapy. He avoids things.
No. You want to hear when I got betrayed? My ex-wife told me her father was dying, and she took my kids to see their grandfather in Atlanta. Turns out he had a mole removed, and it was fucking benign. Yeah, she was moving my kids to
one of my favorite
Georgia
stories of all time.
So yeah, there's a little open up. Got betrayed. Then you know what
That's what I'm talking
and then
about,
you know what I
people.
did? I hired a lawyer. When I got her back in Connecticut, I served her ass with divorce papers. As you can see, my daughter has always lived with me. There's never been a day you didn't live with me. So shit all worked out. Yeah, girl.
She doesn't live here anymore. I'm just letting everyone know.
She moved out now because she's an adult. But that's what I'm saying. I got betrayed.
This is what our listeners want. Not the sarcastic stuff. We want that tear coming out of your eye.
Sometimes I put the walls up, but I'm willing to bring them down. Yeah, I got betrayed.
You're still in therapy because you put the walls up.
I put the walls up.
Yo, he is fired up.
Walls up.
Your turn.
I'm drinking.
All right, so I'm going to go with the less dark one, but I felt betrayed by my own body when I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and it ended my hairdressing career like that.
Make fun of her, Joe.
Sorry about your disease.
My chronic disease that I live with, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep.
Why does everybody have chronic diseases on this?
Golf tournament for me?
Jesus. Can you swing a club?
I cannot.
Oh,
not
Jesus
very well.
Christ.
I have arthritis. I just told you.
I know. I wasn't sure how bad it was. All right.
Your turn.
Well done.
You ever
Well
been
done.
betrayed?
I mean that. Probably the most recent event is probably with my pops.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, so my dad didn't come to my wedding because I didn't want his lady friend coming.
Whore.
Well, it's once again about protecting my peace, but I think the biggest betrayal is what you did to my sister. So it's probably like the family betrayal of my sister getting all these declines for her wedding because the Provenzanos came together and boycotted my sister. So it's not a betrayal on me personally, but it's my sister.
No, I get it.
So
I get that.
It's that, but I will say I've been pretty fortunate in that aspect of my life, other than that blip, and I have a pretty strong circle. But that one aggravated the shit out of me. to no one. It still does.
Mhm.
But I got a good thing coming up though. I'm pretty excited about because I'm petty. So my cousin's getting married, and I think we had maybe one cousin come to my sister's wedding and one of my uncles. And there's like my grandmother had 16 kids, so we got a big family. All right. She had no hobby. Well, she had one hobby, but a lot of kids.
Mhm.
And Grammy. I love my grandma, by the way. She was wild. And so they're getting married and they're having, they both work at Disney, so I'll just let that float out in the air. But
Love that.
I haven't seen my family in like 40 years, and I've never been more excited to go to a family event in my entire life. I'm gonna look like John Wick. There's gonna be like ravens flying out of my jacket. It's because my wife will tell I love awkward moments. So I can't watch an awkward like moment in a movie. I'll leave the room. I get real weird about it.
Yeah.
But like in real life,
Really?
it is going to be the highlight of maybe my life. Because because I'm so happy.
Mhm.
Like, and it's just gonna infuriate my family because it's one of those.
I
like,
love that.
if they see like we have one of those families, if they see you doing well, like it's a shit fest, and I'm just gonna go and be happy. Like, and I can't wait to show it off because I'm finally in a lane in life, and my sister's the same way. My sister's happy and she's doing really well, and we get to go show it off and be like, listen, we did it on our own. So that was my jam.
This is my favorite thing you said tonight.
What?
This.
All of that?
Oh yeah.
I get so excited about it, and
I love that.
Like, I think my wife's a little scared because I'm really just gonna bask in all of it.
Bask in all the awkwardness.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not to talk about my wife, but it's not. She makes it easy because she's like a mermaid. She's
Your
aging
sister-
backwards, and she's the nicest person
Your
ever.
sister said, "Same, brah." But the worst betrayal is when you betray yourself. When I haven't followed my gut, and ta-da, the worst results. Can't wait for our wedding slow-mo entrance. I love that.
Yes, it's gonna be it's gonna be a good time. So, but
Your mom also chimed in. You got this wedding, Vince, and have your sister. You are both happy.
My good old
And then
moms.
also your mom agreed that we all need sleep.
What just happened, Mama? You tired? My poor mom. She's tired.
Your mom's a wonderful person. You should call her more.
Jesus, Joe. Pick another card and we're ending this show. How long have we been going for? Why do you got to end it on that?
No.
We're not ending it on I got to call my mom, dude. I'm not getting into that tonight because she's going to agree with you. Pick a card, Joe.
Do you need Vin to call you, Mom?
One more. And then we're done. You're slowing the pace of this show down.
My finger is very slippery.
It's because you have fat fingers. You do got fat fingers.
I kind of do.
Yeah. They're like mini sausages.
They're strong, though.
Oh, what is this one?
What would you do differently
Oh, you're going to hate my answer.
if you could do it all over again? What would you do differently if you could do it all over
You got to
again?
let Erica answer first. Show off.
My initial thought was nothing. And I know that's not what you want to hear.
I love it. I was going to say the same
'Cause,
thing, and I
like-
think you are too.
Yeah, I think all three of
Right,
us are
'cause,
going to
like,
say
it
that.
would be so easy for me to say, like, oh, I wouldn't have married the person I married, but no, like, I am really good where I am at right now, and obviously everything that has happened in my life brought me here where I'm
Right.
at in my life now. So yeah, nothing.
I was gonna say that, but I think, and I think I said this last week. I think I wish I just knew to take more time to talk to people. I think I lived the majority of my life in a rush. So I don't think I necessarily changed anything, but just like my pace of life, I think I would have changed.
Mhm.
What about you, Joe? I know you're perfect, and your mom says you're awesome. I don't want to hear
Well,
about it.
also your mom said always call mom. And that's true. I guess if I could,
I hope my kids always call me when they get older.
if I could do one thing differently,
Meet me earlier in life.
I would have done this podcast with Vinny, but it would have been about birds. It would have been like a bird watching podcast. We would have talked birds, parakeets, different kinds of birds. Opportunity lost.
And by the way, our spare mic just busted, so this better sound good.
How can people find you, Erica?
How can people find me? TikTok, the Erica Z. Facebook, Erica Zebedio, which
Spell that.
I was like, I'll probably have to spell it right. Zebedo.
Oh, that's actually kind of what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. All right.
Surprisingly phonetic.
Mm-hmm. And if you just take the vowels or the E's out, ZBDO.
Oh, shit.
Right?
Look at that.
Right?
It's impressive.
What do you got?
What are you talking about?
Oh, and my podcast, Unbothered.
Unbothered. By the way, I love the name of that podcast.
Thank you.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Change of Plans is also good.
Change of Plans.
Dope.
You know where to find me.
Yeah.
changeofplansct.com. Shout out to Positive Rescue Division. Go adopt a dog. I always got to plug my dogs. So if anyone needs a dog, a puppy, anything out there, I got some dogs for you. We got some new ones up in the kennels. So, but yeah, check us out. Hit up Erica. She's fantastic. Proud of her. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
Great to
I'll
see
do
you
it
again.
I know.
Wild.
too.
Yeah, we should definitely do this again. You were awesome. This was fun.
He's never said that to me. So
Next
awesome.
time, you know what? Next time you should sit in the
I was
middle.
gonna say, so maybe I'll just boot you out. And
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all right. Joe wasn't supposed to stick around this long, but he's taking over the show. So he was just supposed to be a man in the background, and now
I was like, yeah, I'll just kind of let you know you do your thing.
And now I gotta sit here with his fat fingers and big head and listen to him talk. Everyone, changeyourplansct.com. It's been a ride. Thank you for Erica coming on. Check her out. Talk to you.